Good morning. You will now listen to a special interaction program with Regional PF Commissioner Sri Amardeep Mishra ji on the topic PM Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. PMVBRY is a major employment-linked incentive scheme by the Government of India specially designed to boost formal job creation, enhance youth employability, and expand social security networks. To give more information about PMVBRY, we have a guest, Regional PF Commissioner Sri Amardeep Mishra ji in our studios. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Sir, out of all the schemes which are being implemented by the government, recently a special scheme, that is PMVBRY, Prime Minister Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana, which is mainly aimed towards creating employment. Could you please elaborate about PMVBRY and also tell us why was the scheme introduced?
As you said in your opening remarks, that Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana is a flagship scheme of the Government of India. The main intent of the scheme, the objective of the scheme, is to promote formal employment. You may be aware, and our listeners would also be aware, that India has a huge percentage of workforce in unorganized sector. So how can we bring that workforce from organized sector to organized sector? So that is one of the objectives of this scheme, to create formal employment opportunities by way of incentivizing employers and also encourage the youth to enter into employment. And the employment need to be on a very sustained basis so that the opportunities are available to the youth. They come into the formal sector of employment and they enjoy the social security benefits through Provident Fund EPFO. So that's the main objective of Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana.
As you said, it is mainly responsible for creating employment. So how does the scheme contribute to the employment generation in India, sir?
Employment generation in India, the focus of the government has been to skill the youth, because without skills it will be very difficult for the industry to absorb the youth into the employment sector. So skilling is an integral part of it. So the scheme is designed in a way that any person who joins establishment for the first time into the formal employment, I'm saying, they will be incentivized in the sense that they would get a certain incentive amount under the scheme. So this will encourage the youth to enter into employment firstly. Secondly, the scheme is again designed in a way that the employment has to be on a sustained basis. So in order to avail the incentive, employee will have to be in the establishment for 6 months. During these 6 months, the employee will be able to understand the trade, learn from its employment, and it will also give an opportunity to enhance his or her skills. So in this way, more and more people who are passing out of college or coming out of training institutes or other institutes will be able to enter into the employment force. They are incentivized to enter into the employment force. Okay. So this in a way will act as a pull factor for the youth to take up employment. From the employer perspective, if we see, so there are establishments who are covered under the Provident Fund. And if we look at the firm sizes of the establishments all across India, there is a report published in the name of Annual Survey of Industries. So we have very large number of establishments which are called small size or micro establishments, where the employment strength is less than 20. And then we have also establishments where employment strength is more than 20, whose numbers are lesser. So Provident Fund applies to any establishment where 20 or more employees are there. So at least in these categories of firms, establishments, again, if the employer increases the employment strength, the employer is also incentivized that you hire more and more people and you will be paid certain incentive under the scheme. So from both the employer side and the employee side, the scheme is structured in such a way that it encourages employment. And that is the main objective of the scheme. Employment, again, I would stress, on a sustained basis. Okay. And once they come into the Provident Fund fold, then the social security umbrella, they would enjoy the benefit of the social security umbrella. And this will increase their productivity also. Okay. So that's the whole intent of the scheme.
Okay. While telling about this PMVBRY, you just twice or thrice use the word sustainable employment.
Yeah.
What exactly is the meaning of the sustainable employment, sir?
So sustainable employment is that the employment should be on a continuous basis. That means the industry should have the capacity to absorb or to increase in employment that is generated through incentivizing the employee and the employer. You just give an incentive and then you people take that incentive and again go back to the same employment strength.
Right.
So that is not a sustained employment. Sustained employment means you create an environment, you create a mechanism by which there is an increase in the overall employment. But at the same time, that increased level of the employment is sustained. The industry itself creates that capacity in order to sustain that increase in employment. And this overall adds to the productivity, because more and more youth, if they enter into employment, they are adding ultimately to the productivity of the nation, contributing to the GDP of the nation. So that's the whole intent of this scheme.
Okay. So being as a commissioner in PF office, explain us what role does the EPFO plays in implementing this Prime Minister Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana scheme?
Oh yes, madam. So this scheme, as I said, madam, was launched by Government of India. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister announced this scheme on 15th of August 25 in his Independence Day speech. And the scheme is in operation from 1st August 25. So the scheme is of the Government of India, now being implemented by Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India. EPFO's role is that EPFO is in the process of implementation of this scheme in a way that employees who are entering into establishments which are covered under Provident Fund, the incentive is available to such employees. Then establishments which are covered, registered under the Provident Fund, enjoy the incentives provided they meet certain criteria under the scheme. So the EPFO's role is basically to identify the employees who would be eligible for the incentive, identify the employers who would be eligible for the benefit, and the IT infrastructure of the EPFO is being used in order to disburse those benefits to the members. So the identification of the beneficiaries, disbursement of benefit to the beneficiaries is being done through the infrastructure of the EPFO. So EPFO has a role to implement the scheme that has been framed by the Government of India.
Oh. Now, what are the benefits of PMVBRY and who are eligible for taking up these benefits?
The scheme has basically two parts in terms of benefit. Part A benefit is admissible to the employees. And when we say employees means, again, the employees entering into the formal employment for the first time.
Okay.
If any employee joins an establishment for the first time, which is having Provident Fund, which is registered under the Provident Fund, so such employee will be eligible for an incentive to the tune of 1 month pay, subject to a cap of 15,000 rupees. But the incentive is payable in 2 installments. The first installment will be paid only after 6 months of continuous service. Again, retaining the employee, because the attrition rates in some of the companies are very high. People join establishment and leave establishment. So just to incentivize them to be there in the establishment and learn the tricks of the trade. So 6 months of continuous employment is essential. Then they are eligible to get the first installment of the benefit. So supposingly their salary is 15,000 rupees. So they'll be eligible to get 7,500 rupees after 6 months of continuous employment. And the second installment will be paid after another 6 months, so after 1 year. But the second installment will be paid only when they do a financial literacy program. So we want to make everybody financially literate too, so that people understand the importance of social security, people understand the importance of savings. So they have to go through a very basic financial literacy program, which would be kind of an online program, which will be provided to the employees on their portal itself. They can do it through their mobile, through their computer systems having internet facility. So once they complete the financial literacy program, the second installment will be paid, but this time this will be in the form of a certain kind of deposit, a saving deposit you can say, the details of which will be circulated to the members are yet to be finalized by the ministry. So this is the benefit that is admissible under Part A. This benefit is not available to any new employee who is joining whose gross pay is more than 1 lakh. This is only for employees whose pay is less than 1 lakh. But as I said, the benefit is capped at 15,000 rupees. So whatever be the salary greater than 15,000, it will be capped at 15,000. And if the salary is less than 15,000, then to that extent, they would receive the benefits in 2 installments. Then there is Part B benefit. Part B benefit is for the employer. So those establishments who are covered under Provident Fund or would get covered under the Provident Fund during the period of this scheme. So this benefit is for them, but they have to meet certain conditions. So one of the condition is that they need to increase the employment strength. So now the establishments are categorized into two categories. One, having employees less than 50. So if their employment strength, average employment strength prior to launch of the scheme, that is 1st August 25, was less than 50, then they need to increase the employment strength by minimum 2.
Okay.
So supposingly any establishment had employment strength of 20 prior to the launch of the scheme. The average employment strength was 20 for the past 12 months. So that means they need to add minimum 2 employment. So they need to create additional 2 employment. And it has to be, as I said, on a sustained basis.
Yeah.
That means they have to continue with this X, which is the average, plus 2. So that means 20 plus 2, they need to continue in order to avail the benefit under the scheme. And the second category is where 50 or more employees were there. Then in that case, they have to add minimum 5 employees. That means create additional employment of 5 employees. So if they are able to do so, they become eligible. So this is the eligibility part. Now, what is the quantum of benefit that they would get? So the quantum of benefit is again dependent upon the wage of the employee that they have hired. So it is, in simple terms, I would say there is a table for it. The benefit is up to 3,000 rupees per employee per month. So it's like if somebody's wages is less than 10,000, then it will be 10% of that amount. So assuming somebody's wages is 10,000, so it will be like 1,000 rupees benefit. If somebody's wages is like 15,000, so it will be like 2,000 rupees benefit between 10 to 20,000. And above 20,000, it is 3,000 rupees. Irrespective of the salary. Again, here also, it is only for those employees will be taken into consideration whose gross pay is less than 1 lakh rupees. So the employer is incentivized for creating additional employment to the extent of either 2 or 5, depending upon their average employment strength prior to launch of the scheme. And this will be available to them for 2 years, which is this period of the scheme, starting from 1st August 25 till 31st of July 27.
Okay. So, as you said, all these benefits are only for the first-time job seekers, or PMVBRY beneficiary things are applicable for those who are already in the employment, sir?
In terms of employee benefit, madam, it is available only to the first-time, you can say first-time job seekers, or you can say people who are entering into the formal employment for the first time.
Okay.
We may have a condition where, somebody is working in a very small firm where there are only 5 employees and that firm is not registered under Provident Fund.
Okay.
So that person, though would have been working there, would not be a Provident Fund member because, as I said, the eligibility for registration under Provident Fund, for mandatory registration under Provident Fund is 20 employees.
Okay.
Below that, it is optional. If an employer wants, they can get themselves registered. So assuming that there is a firm where the employment strength is less than 20, say 5, then probably that firm would not be registered under Provident Fund because it is up to the will of the employee and employer.
Yes, right.
Both of them agree, then they can get themselves registered. So in such case, supposingly some employee has worked there and now moves to a company which is registered under Provident Fund. So that employee will be treated as first-time employee only because he is entering into the formal sector where there are social security benefits. He or she is entering into that sector for the first time. So the benefit will be available only to such employees and not to those employees who are already a Provident Fund member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you please elaborate what incentives does PMVBRY offer to employers, not the employees, employers?
So as I said, that Part B benefit is for the employer. Part B benefit is for the employer. So I was talking about, the firm being categorized into 2 parts, having less than 50 employees and one having more than 50 employees. So supposingly there is a firm which was employing, having an average employment strength of, say, for example, 100 employees. Okay, prior to the launch of the scheme. It looks at the data for the past 12 months prior to August 25 and then arrives at an average. That becomes the baseline for that establishment. So assuming the baseline figure is 100. Now, next month, say for example in the month of August, that employer added 10 employees. But as I said, employment on a sustained basis.
Yes.
So that means this 110 strength, 100 plus 10 which have been added should continue. So if that has continued for 6 months, then that establishment becomes eligible to get benefit to the tune of up to maximum, I am saying, because again it is dependent upon the wage of the employee that they have hired. So the benefit will be like up to 3,000 rupees per employee per month. So 10 employees are there. Supposingly for all those 10 additional employment that has been created, their wages are above 20,000 rupees for all those 10 employees. Then the establishment will get 3,000 multiplied by 10 per month. So that's the benefit that is available to the employer to create additional employment. For our listeners, mainly the entrepreneurs who would be in manufacturing sector, this benefit will be available for 4 years because the focus of the government is on the manufacturing sector too, and create more employment opportunities in manufacturing sector.
Okay. So how can an employer or an employee enroll themselves for this PMVBRY scheme, sir?
So that's the best part of the scheme, madam, I would say, in my opinion, because normally, in many of these schemes where we get some incentive or some benefit, we are required to fill certain forms and all and do certain formalities. In this case, for Part A benefit, that is for a new employee doesn't have to do anything at all. No additional requirement is there. So the system is designed in such a way that when any employee enters into a formal employment, what is required is UN, that is the Universal Account Number, which is a sort of social security number, you can say. The UN generation process has become so easy and so smooth that one can generate UN through Umang app, through a mobile. So you just need to enter your Aadhaar number, face the camera of the mobile. Through face authentication technology, UN gets generated. And the establishment will link that UN with the member ID, which is allotted by the establishment. So this onboarding is completed. And then the employee will continue working. The employee need not do anything at all. Then the employer files monthly returns every month, which we call as ECR, that is Electronic Challan Cum Returns. Okay. This is done by the employer every month. So every month we will be getting data for that employee through ECR. So all over country, all establishments will be filing ECR, and we would be getting data of who are the people UN has been generated first time, and then whether they are eligible to get the benefit or not. Because they are first time employees, they will be eligible to get the benefit. So they don't have to do anything. Then all UNs are supposed to be linked with bank account. So that bank account seeding has to be done by the employee or employer. So once the bank account seeding is done, that means UN and bank account are tagged together. Then the benefit will flow directly into the bank account of the employee without employee filling any form or giving any declaration or submitting any extra document. So the benefit will flow directly into the bank account of the employee. The employee just needs to make sure that account given by them is DBT enabled. That means it is enabled to receive direct benefit transfer. Most of the accounts are DBT enabled, but sometimes some of the accounts may not be DBT enabled. So that can be checked with the bank branch, and the branch will help to make the account DBT enabled. It's a very simple process which can also be done online.
Okay. Sir, most of the employees have no idea about that important app which is called Umang app.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Could you please tell us, what is Umang app and what are its benefits when we download it? What are the main objectives of Umang app, sir?
So Umang app, madam, I would say is app of all apps. So it's like an app through which you can avail so many services of the government, not only Provident Fund. If you want to get CBSE results, you can go to Umang app. If you want to do something related to income tax, you can go on the Umang app. So there are so many services which are available on the Umang app. One of the services is EPFO services. So for EPF member, through Umang app, you can generate your universal account number. Once you have become a member, you can view your passbook as to what your PF balance is. You can file online claim whenever you need a money, you need an advance you need certain advances from the Provident Fund for your life cycle needs, for example, marriage. You can file an online claim through Umang app. You don't have to go anywhere. Sitting in your home, you can file a claim. Okay. If you have retired, you want to claim your Provident Fund money, again, you don't need to go anywhere. Through Umang app, you can file a claim. Even in case of unfortunate death of the member, if the e-nomination is complete, the family members through Umang app can file a claim without visiting any office. And for pensioners, if you want to submit your digital life certificate, again, you don't have to come to office. And this is applicable for all pensions, madam, not only pensions given by EPFO, but all pensions. So you can simply go to the Umang app. There is a provision for digital life certificate. You select which is the department who is giving the pension, enter your bank account details, and you can, through face authentication technology, you can submit your digital life certificate. Okay. So there are a lot of benefits of the Umang app. So my request to all the listeners is that if you have not yet downloaded the Umang app, please download it and use it. It's a very useful app.
When any new program or a scheme is implemented or being implemented, implementation faces a lot of challenges. So as a person who is right now in the field of PMVBRY implementation process, what are the common challenges in implementing PMVBRY?
The first and foremost I would say is, madam, to convey the incentives that are available under the scheme to make people understand the importance of the scheme.
Okay.
What is the objective of the scheme? What benefits are available? For that, we need to interact with employer bodies. So here in Visakhapatnam, like we have interacted with most of the employer bodies like CII, Chamber of Commerce, CREDAI, so many other employer associations we have interacted with.
Okay.
Then we also have interacted with the trade unions. We have visited the industrial clusters, SEZ, major PSUs. Even we have called establishments to our offices, organized workshops for them. So outreach is one thing which we have been focusing upon and which is very much required, essential, because only when people get to know about the scheme, the benefits available under the scheme and the objective of the scheme, that people will come forward and participate in the scheme. So this was one major challenge, considering the number of establishments and the number of subscribers all across India, I would say, not only in Visakhapatnam, but in every part of India. So the department has done very good work in this area all across India and reaching out to people and explaining to them the benefits of this scheme. The second is that we have to encourage new establishments also to get themselves registered. So any establishment having 20 or more employees, of course, by law, they are required to get themselves registered. But as I said, there is also a provision for voluntary registration. Yes. So we would encourage even employers, entrepreneurs, establishments where 20 or less employees are there, that please come forward. There is a scheme. You will get benefited by this scheme. So why don't you come forward and register under the Provident Fund? Because that is mandatory in order to get benefits under this scheme.
Right.
Once we have reached out, there has not been many challenges.
Right. Sir, as you said, you reached CREDAI and Chamber of Commerce and other organizations in urban areas. Like, what are the steps being taken to bring awareness about this particular PMVBRY program in rural areas?
So what we do, madam, is that we have also one program which is called Nidhi Aapke Nikat. By the name itself, it is like we want to come to you and tell you about whatever is happening in EPFO and to resolve your grievances too.
Right.
So Nidhi Aapke Nikat is another platform through which we reach out to the far-flung areas. So every month on 27th, we conduct this program in all the districts. So here, like for in Visakhapatnam, this program is held, and all across India. Yeah. Simultaneously, this program is held in all districts on 27th. And if 27th is a holiday, then on the next working day. So we consciously in Nidhi Aapke Nikat select only such areas which are far-flung, because we know that it is very difficult for a person, say for example here, who is residing in Araku area or in Paderu area, to come to Visakhapatnam or Vijayanagaram or Srikakulam, because we have a district office in Vijayanagaram and Srikakulam too. So to come there and get their grievances resolved or get their queries answered. So what we do is that we do a Nidhi Aapke Nikat session there. We give a publicity of it, and then we invite people there. That is one platform through which we not only resolve grievances of the members, but also make people aware about the latest initiatives that are taken by the department. So for example, including this PMVBRY scheme.
So being a creative member in this implementation process of PMVBRY, what impact do you expect that PMVBRY brings in employment sector in the coming few years? So
interestingly, madam, I have been interacting not only with industry bodies and trade unions and establishments and their employees. I have also been interacting with university students, because I know they are the ones who will be entering into the employment tomorrow, if not today. I had interactions with several students of various universities and interacted with final year MBA students and other students too. When we talk about these kind of initiatives which are launched by the Government of India, PMVBRY having an outlay of 1 lakh crore with an ambition to create 3.5 crore employment in 2 years. So the feedback that we get from the students is that they are also very curious, to contribute in a way. And when we link this to the Viksit Bharat vision of 2047, so they are also very curious as to how they can contribute into this story of Viksit Bharat 2047. I see that more and more people have become interested to come into employment, be in employment, learn the skills and trade, and contribute in a meaningful way to the development of the nation.
Okay. Where can our listeners get authentic information and implementing this PMVBRY scheme, sir?
So we have a dedicated website for PMVBRY. So one can go on our epfindia.gov.in, which is the website of EPFO. And through that, there is a link for PMVBRY. You can go on that. And so PMVBRY itself has its own website and own portal where all the information are available, including, what kind of incentives are available, how you would become eligible. And just to add, madam, you were talking about the registration process also. We were discussing that for employee, there is nothing, no registration at all.
Yes.
For employer, actually, there is one single page registration where they need to give us the PAN number. So, and this is also very beautifully explained on the PMVBRY portal as to what you are required to do. That's a one-time registration. So that means the employer needs to give the PAN number. Employer gives to give the GST number. The GST is required just to distinguish whether it is a manufacturing or a non-manufacturing establishment. A bank account should be linked with PAN. The benefit will go directly into the bank account of the establishment. So PMVBRY portal is the portal where you get all the information, authentic information. There are FAQs also there, madam. Yeah.
What message would you like to give to the young people who are entering into the workforce for the first time?
To the young people, I always say that when you enter into a formal sector employment, one thing is guaranteed for you, and that is your social security. So if your social security is guaranteed, so that means you can rest assured that in your life cycle, whenever there is a need, you can fall back upon the social security fund that you have created for yourself, the provident fund that you have created for yourself, the pension that you will get from the department. So that you can always fall upon. Now you, as a youth, you see how you can contribute meaningfully to the development of the nation, how you can increase the productivity, how you can be a contributor to adding to the GDP of the country. That is what, so a youth needs to have that kind of zeal, that kind of aspiration in order to propel India into a developed nation. And when I look at some of the figures, madam, just, EPFO publishes a payroll employment figure, payroll data figure, in fact. So that means that data basically, it's available on our website. So that data basically captures as to what is the percentage of people, in various age groups who are entering into employment. When we look at that data, more than 50% of the people who are entering into formal employment are in the age bracket less than 25 years of age. So they are the ones who are going to build the nation. Right. So we have huge hopes from them, and I think they are also preparing themselves and are well equipped in order to propel the nation to Viksit Bharat.
There are many schemes being implemented by the government for the benefit of the people, but most of the times people are not aware of those schemes. So giving a lot of insights about PMVBRY to our listeners for spending a valuable time for Akashvani. On behalf of Akashvani, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for inviting us. I hope at least this will also help in spreading the awareness about the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Thank you once again, madam.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Namaste.
You have listened to an interview with Regional PF Commissioner Sri Amardeep Mishra ji on the topic PMVBRY.